this next partner, it's like, I think all of us sitting here, we admire this woman so much. We love her so much. We know her story so much that we're just like, one day I want to have something similar. If I will go into business, I want to go into something similar. And what I love about her is that it's different businesses and it's different sectors, which is always so good because you get to see an eye in everything. Dr. Judy needs no introduction, but I will introduce her nonetheless. I remember when I was Miss South Africa in 2016, it was the first time I met Dr. Judy at an event. It was around women in leadership. So we're in the holding room and, I was 24, I'm 32 now. I was 24 and I asked her, your story is so amazing. How did you get to be the woman that you are today? And the one thing she said to me that stuck to me, and it's so testament to what's happening here today, she said, every woman has a story. And that was something that took me through everything, that every woman sitting here has a story. And in the book, your volume 2, Dear Mr. Entrepreneurship, it's women's stories around their relationship with Dear Mr. Entrepreneurship. Dr. Judy is a medical doctor with a doctorate in business and postgraduate certification in education. She's an author, a publisher, philanthropist, and has been in business for more than 30 years. Her first book, Equal But Different, which was a conversation of her doctoral thesis, was a bestseller. Guys, so everything, she touches turns into gold. Her most recent work was a biography of Prof. Bongani Moyisi, and she co-authored and published earlier this year. She's a wife, mother, sister, and a gracious and beautiful gogo. Please give her a round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks, Dando. Good to see you again. You still look as beautiful, both the brain and the body. Sanbonan, it's such an honor to be here this morning to celebrate the work of this young woman that I so respect, Dr. J. When I was thinking of what I'm going to say, Tebogo, you are right. Entrepreneurs speak from the heart. It's not PowerPoint presentations, but it's the scars that we've actually acquired along the way. But I would be remiss not to recognize the day for what it is and just admire how beautiful these storytellers are, the entrepreneurs that we celebrate today. Please just give a round of applause. They look so beautiful. Thank you. And thanks for the touch of red, Dr. J. I tried. I'm a red girl. I just love my red wardrobe, but I said, no, I think I'll leave the dress to the girl of the moment. And I want to thank you, Dr. J, for quite a few things. The first one is the book that you wrote. I always say, like Ndando said, every person has a story to tell, especially women, because we don't tell our stories. We don't think they are good enough, And so you told your story in the first volume, and you felt that, there are other stories to be told, and I'll open the space for other women to tell their stories. You wanted to open it for other people. It's just that out of the 50, the stories that spoke to you, 13 of them were from women, and congratulations for that. And I'm actually even more, how do you say it? I admire your work even more, having met your students from WBS, the best business school in the continent. And I'll tell you later why I say that. I'll try to be very brief, Dando, because I know when you come here, then there's trouble. It's difficult, though, when you've lived so many decades, but I'll try. In your first volume, you say a lot of things that resonate with me. One of them that I quote in my foreword for volume 2, and I'll paraphrase. And it's funny. Entrepreneurship is like life itself. It's like marriages. And I love the analogy of a romance, of a love journey, because everyone whether you've been in love or you seek to be in love, you can relate to a love journey, you know? What you say is that I'm actually paraphrasing. You'll never know unless you try, right? You'll never know unless you try. When you wake up in the morning, you don't know if you'll come back home because it's in someone else's hands, but you actually have this hope and faith that you'll make it through the day. And when it comes to entrepreneurship, unless you try, you'll never know. That's the first thing. The second thing that I want to say, and I also say it in the forward, is that when I listen to Deboko, you have such amazing stories that I'm going to pursue you after this, because I'll tell you why later on. I say in that forward that I find it intriguing, but not surprising, that most of the storytellers, the accomplished women that we have today, it's not their first love, entrepreneurship. There wasn't a pull to entrepreneurship, it was a push. The first love was an employer, right? And it's similar to you, Deboko. You got into entrepreneurship by accident, right? And for me, it's the direct opposite. My first love is entrepreneurship. And a lot of things that happen in our lives informs the people that we become. And I think in my case, it was two things that made me only want to work for myself, right? Because I was born maybe before your parents were born, some of you. And it was during the dark days of apartheid where everything said, I'm a non-entity. It said, I don't belong. It said, if we educate you, we'll educate you enough to be a domestic worker. And I hated that. I resented that because I felt, and this was based on the second reason I became an entrepreneur, because of the parents that I had. They hustled, they made sure they had different streams of income, but more importantly, they believed in me. They gave me love. And I thought, why do these people think they are better because they're different skin pigment? Why does everything say I'm less? I'm African, but it's written non-European, where I'm supposed to stand to wait for a bus. So I had the anger that I channeled to say, I will own my destiny, right? And how will I own it? Because I'll be the boss of self. No one is going to employ me, right? Because I have what it takes to make my own money, to be financially independent and create jobs, right? I looked at my parents, and my mother was a school teacher. My dad had to leave school at a very young age to actually fend for the family, but he was an entrepreneur. He had a contract company to paint people's houses, and they paid him. But he used that money, the book that he made, to buy property in the few areas where Blacks were allowed to have property at the time, and they would rent it out. And during weekends, we would sell at his tuck shop, which was at a sports ground. And from the age of 11, I was selling fruit and stuff at my dad's tuck shop. And I was good with numbers. So I became the bookkeeper, I would do the recon and what have you. So at the age of 11, I knew what it means to actually sell and make money from selling. And I knew that life is about protecting yourself by having multiple streams of revenue. That has made